once in a while I'll run into guys, my age, close, 40, 50, the 40s and up, that want to just do side work, around the house, whether it's mowing, doing gutters. A friend of mine, we have a picture of friend.
Hey there, it's the Range Ronin, and I have several .22 long rifle lever, bolt, pump, and semi-automatic rifles in the collection. With few exceptions, the furniture on these rifles is polymer. While polymer furniture has good qualities, one of those qualities is not warmth or character. There is nothing like a well-cared-for wood stock. Smell and feel of even a poor wood stock, example, is better than the cold, soulless feel of polymer, regardless of how much you dress it up with patterns and colors. While my mind was telling the body the need for a good bolt-action rifle in the double-deuce caliber, the search was on for a good rifle for the money. There was one caveat, however. I did not need more magazines of varying types to fit varying rifles. I wanted a rifle that I could use one magazine that was also usable in other rifles. With that said, nearly all rifle manufacturers have proprietary magazines for their rifles, and which are specific to those rifles. There is only one manufacturer, as far as I am aware of, that incorporates a magazine into the design of a rifle that can also be used in other rifles, Sturm Ruger and Company, specifically the Rimfire line of rifles. The challenge would not be in finding a bolt-action rifle in the double-deuce caliber, but in finding a bolt-action rifle with wood furniture. Ruger saw me coming. With the Ruger M77 line now down to a single .22 long rifle product, and that product sporting polymer furniture, the Ruger American was the only option left to me. But was it a good option? Would I need to force myself to go to a European manufacturer to get a quality double-deuce rifle like the CZ USA or Anschutz? I would rather buy American whenever possible, but sometimes that option is not available to us. Luckily, and with Ruger, the option of buying a quality rifle with wood furniture is entirely possible. Enter the Ruger American Rimfire Woodstock 8329 22LR. The features of the Ruger American are many, so I'll get started with the lock and then move on to the stock and barrel. The Ruger American Rimfire 22LR comes with the Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, which offers a crisp release with a user-adjustable pull weight that is between 3 and 5 pounds. With an adjustable trigger in mind, please consider that to adjust the trigger pull weight, the barrel and receiver assembly must be removed from the stock. The receiver is held to the bedding with mounting screws that are tightened to 35 inch-pounds of torque. The trigger pull weight on my Ruger American Rimfire is 3.5 pounds new, and it will smooth out with use. I see no virtue in pulling the action for an ounce or two of pull, but if you are serious about getting the lightest trigger possible, I highly recommend that a qualified gunsmith do the work. Just forward of the trigger guard is an easy-to-use 10-22 style extended magazine release that provides smooth, no-fuss removal of magazines, flush-mounted or otherwise. One key feature that drew me to the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR is the detachable flush-mounted 10-22 BX-1 10-round rotary magazine. The Ruger American Rimfire 22LR also accepts all 10-22 magazines, including the BX-25, BX-25 x2, and BX-15. This means that I can use the same magazines in my 10-22 carbine and the Ruger Charger pistol. Another feature of the action that is nice to have in a rimfire rifle is that the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR can be dry fired safely and without damaging the firing pin or the breech face, although I do use snap caps when dry firing, just for my own peace of mind. The Ruger American Rimfire 22LR features a single-piece wood stock with laser-etched feathering incorporated on the grip and forend. I say feathering because the pattern reminds me of a windswept prairie fire or the feathers of an Indian war bonnet. The 13.75-inch length of pull is nearly perfect for me with my long reach. A rubber butt pad helps to soak up that horrendous recoil of the .22 long rifle cartridge. With a 13.75-inch length of pull, some may find the stock too long for their liking, and this rifle may fail in that category for a youth or person with short arms. I did feel that the comb of the rifle was slightly high, but with a scope mounted, it would be an advantage. The relatively short stock of the Ruger 1022 might be to the liking of some rather than the long stock of the Ruger American Rimfire, or rather than the wood stock Ruger American Rimfire option, you might consider the polymer stock options. The polymer stock option includes two interchangeable standard lengths of pull stock modules that provide comb height options for scope or iron sight use. By simply removing the rear sling, swivel stud, stock modules can be changed in seconds. The hand nestles into the almost pistol-like grip curve. The trigger, bolt, and tang-mounted safety are all within reach of the shooting hand. Within the belly of the stock is a patent-pending power bedding integral bedding block system that positively locates the receiver and free floats the barrel. With that said, let me move on to the barrel. The 22-inch cold, satin-blued hammer-forged barrel results in ultra-precise rifling that provides exceptional accuracy, longevity, and easy cleaning. A target crown prevents damage to the all-important muzzle end of the barrel. As was mentioned previously, the barrel is bedded and is free-floating. At the front of the barrel sits a Williams fiber optic front sight that oversees the target crown muzzle of the barrel. What is interesting to note is that the front sight appears to be the same front sight as used on select Ruger pistols, like the new Ruger Mark IV Hunter pistol. So far, this type of sight has been the best for me to actually see in poor lighting of the indoor range that I frequent. At mid-barrel, we find the adjustable V-slot folding leaf rear sight. The folding leaf rear sight is adjustable for elevation. The slide must be moved one graduation to change the point of impact by approximately 1 inch at 25 yards. To adjust the rear sight, use a small screwdriver with a blade tip that exactly fits the screw head. Loosen the screws only slightly, so the slide doesn't move too freely. Move the slide in the direction you want the point of impact of the bullet to move. When the slide is positioned at the desired height, carefully tighten both screws. Lateral, or windage adjustment, is made by drifting the sight base in its slot. Place a short brass rod against the sight base, and only the base, and tap the sight in the direction you wish to move the point of bullet impact. Before moving the sight, pencil mark an index line on the sight base and rib, so that sight movement can be detected. Note that the rear sight blade can be reversed to give a square notch rear sight picture. The receiver is drilled and tapped for Weaver number 12 bases, but a 3/8 inch rimfire scope base is machined into the receiver. The 60-degree bolt provides ample scope clearance, and an easy-to-use receiver-mounted bolt release allows the bolt to be readily removed without requiring a pull of the trigger, a unique safety feature among rimfire bolt-action rifles. I did find some roughness within the bolt housing itself. There are circular machining marks where, I felt, should be smooth. This is a CNC process, and I expect better work than this, Ruger. Also, the cuts in the bolt housing for the bolt handle, where the bolt slides into the bolt housing, are not smoothly finished. I can definitely see the wearing of the finish at these edges. The edges are sharply defined, where a rounding of these edges would be better. I realize that the Ruger American Rimfire is not an Anschutz or even a CZ, but come on, Ruger, you could have done better than this. Moving rearward is the visible, accessible, and easy-to-actuate tang safety. The tang safety is integral to the pistol grip of the stock. The safety is a two-position tang safety. The safety selector is located behind the rear bolt sleeve. The safety selector can be moved from the fire position to the safe position only when the firing pin is cocked. Fully raising the bolt handle cocks the firing pin. I have to mention the bolt angle of the dangle, and how far the bolt handle extends from the stock. Some say that the handle extends too far from the stock and could be accidentally bumped with the shooting hand. Being accidentally bumped and disengaging the bolt is two different things. Let's just say that disengaging the bolt takes some effort, and any bolt, unless the safety locks the bolt, can be disengaged with little effort. For me, the bolt distance from the stock allows me to slide the hand under the bolt handle just like I do with larger caliber bolt guns, with the web of the hand, or the palm of the hand, and which is my right hand regardless of whether I am shooting left or right-handed. Since I am predominantly a right-handed left-hand shooter of long guns, my right, strong hand, does all the manual labor when it comes to working a bolt or changing out a magazine. But I have no issues when firing right-handed. When I transport a bolt gun, the bolt is removed from the firearm, and I don't concern myself about if the rifle will fit in the darn carrying case. The bolt is easily removed from the action with a push of a simple bolt release button that is located on the left rear of the receiver. The Ruger American Rimfire Woodstock 22LR has the classic lines of a wood-furnitured rifle, an American-made wood-furnitured rifle to be exact. The polymer versions of this rifle lack the flow, as the clean lines of the stock are broken with modular stock options, in my opinion. While the polymer stock version says utility, the wood version says tradition, and to each their own, say I. Everything on the Woodstock version of this rifle makes for a harmonious blend of components. The texturing of the forearm and grip lend a visual appeal to the rifle, as they are not the usual checkering as found on most stocks. Overall, I find the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR with Woodstock very visually appealing. Let me yak at you a bit while I finish up this drive to my favorite outdoor range. The first day at the indoor range with the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR was basically to check function and initial sighting in with the open sights. While function was acceptable, both elevation and windage had to be adjusted for the 25 yards that I was shooting at. which was an easy task for elevation, as it only took a small screwdriver to adjust. Windage, however, took a slight tap to the right, and things were fine after that. A scope was mounted after I returned home from the indoor range, and the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR now sports a Nikon ProStaff Rimfire 2 4-12 by 40 scope. That, incidentally, is no longer available by Nikon, as they have discontinued their line of rifle scopes. The scope base and rings were ordered from Ruger and fit perfectly, as does the scope. I needed to take it to my favorite outdoor range to really see what it and me were capable of. I bore sighted at 25 yards, then moved to 50 yards, where zero was readjusted to get me on paper where I wanted to be. Then it was time to move to 100 yards and try, at least, to get on paper. The Ruger American Rimfire 22LR has been to the outdoor range several times, but today I am going to take you along. By the way, say hello to Muley, my 1989 Chevrolet S10 Blazer, 4.3-liter powered, TBI-fed workhorse. With 246,000 miles on him, he still gets me where I need to go, and he loves to travel the back roads as much as I do. So, please excuse the view from the windshield, as this windshield has had more bugs planted on it than the CIA has planted worldwide. In just a bit, we'll be at the range. At 100 yards, I started with 8 times magnification, just to see more how I could do with the scope. Electronic scoring is a wonderful thing. Results display just after you take the shot. While the results may not be gratifying, at least they are almost instantaneous. So, let me talk about the rifle as you view the shooting and my adjustments to bring the shots as close to zero as I can attain. The bolt operates smoothly, but with a slight hint of drag, and it is not going to be the quietest bolt to operate in the forest. In fact, it is quite noisy. The bolt sounds somewhat like a plastic zipper as it is moved throughout its range of motion. The noise seems to be caused by machining marks within the bolt housing itself. The 2-stage trigger is excellent for the intent of the rifle, hunting, plinking, target shooting, but lacks the preciseness of a good competition trigger. For the first stage, press the trigger release until you feel a wall, and then press about 3.5 pounds more for the second stage of the trigger to send the bullet downrange. The break is as crisp as any 1911 trigger, and no overtravel was detected. Raising the bolt handle cocks the rifle. For this reason, Ruger recommends that the safety be placed in the safe position before chambering a cartridge or after chambering a cartridge that will not be immediately fired. The rotary magazine can be a bit tricky to install, whether it be a 10-round, 15-round, or 25-round unit. Like the 10-22, the magazine catch and release lever must be pushed forward. With a 10-22, however, I found the magazine to install more smoothly than with the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR, as inserting a magazine into the 10-22 simply takes a gentle push to lock the magazine into place, whereas with the Ruger American Bolt Action 22, the magazine lock and release lever had to be pushed forward, and then the front lip of the magazine needed to be inserted first. Once this was performed, the magazine slid into place easily. The Ruger American Bolt Action 22 is a sporting rifle after all, and fast reloads are not a priority. The trigger, being new, was stiff, and I longed for a bit better trigger, but the Ruger American 22LR being what it is, I learned to work with the trigger, although I felt it worked against me at times.
I go down and I log the camera.
At 8 times magnification, I was not doing so bad, but a couple of high hits told me to up the ante, and the scope's magnification was set at 12 power. That gave me a better picture of that little red circle in the middle of the black. Ruger American was starting to show its colors, and the remaining shots were all in the black, with a couple of center hits. For me, and overall, it was not a bad range day. On a final note, the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR did well with the Gia 40 grain interceptor hollow point ammunition, but surprisingly to me, CCI 40 grain copper plated round nose ammunition did not seem to be as accurate.
I'm impressed nobody shot one off your rifle. Because I, done one. I found myself, we did good. I walked away like quick. But the closest we ever got was the guy who had his own, same as ours. And he was now when I was running back to stop.
It should be noted that this version of the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR is the long version with its 20-inch barrel. There is also a compact version. Also, if you are not into wood, there is also the polymer stock versions that provide adjustments for LOP and stock height. 99.9% of the time, the firearms that I review are my personal firearms, and I owe no company allegiance when reviewing their products. I invest time and good money, and what I get for my money, I report so that other fine people, like those watching this review, can decide if the product is worth their money. The Ruger American Rimfire 22LR is considered, by some, as an entry-level rifle. As it is, the American Rimfire 22LR is an excellent general-purpose bolt-action plinker, informal target shooter, or bring-home small-game rifle. One advantage of a bolt gun over a semi-automatic is that the bolt gun tends to run cleaner. In a semi-automatic firearm, burnt powder and debris will naturally be forced into the chambering area due to the blowback operation. With a bolt-operated firearm, burnt powder and debris is forced forward into the barrel, and only a small residue of burnt powder and debris may be found in the chambering area due to operating the bolt. While I did consider the CZ USA 452 Ultra Lux, I also had to consider cost of ownership and what I was intending to do with the rifle, and the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR won out. Are there some issues with the Ruger American Rimfire 22LR? Yes, there are, and I would like to see Ruger pay more attention to their quality for those of us who really like Ruger products. or for those who would really like to enjoy Ruger firearms. Sometimes it is the little finishing touches that can make a difference to a consumer. My final impression of the Ruger American Rimfire 22 LR rifle with wood stock is of a utility rifle with traditional styling and furniture. I like the looks of the rifle, I like the feel of the rifle, and I like the way the rifle shoots, once it is properly sighted in. Whether you want a bolt-action plinking rifle to take to the range, pop cans, hunt, or eradicate unwanted pests, the Ruger American 22 LR should be able to do the job for you. Regardless, if you are interested in the wood-stocked or a polymer-stocked version, you are primarily going to be interested in how the Ruger American Rimfire performs. In addition to my own findings, I have provided some links to others who can take you down that road. On that note, I am going to close this chapter of another Range Ronin Chronicle. I hope that you will return for my other gun and gear reviews. Until we meet again, stay safe out there.